everybody, it is July 12th, 2009, I'm Sonic Sons, and I'm doing a response to a Vlogbrothers video posted a few days ago called Too Much Love Will Kill You. And in it, Hank argues that we can't love everyone the way in which we love those closest to us. That's what he said in the description box. That we have to find a way to, well, deal with the soul-crushing weight of love, in the traditional sense of it, as he calls it. And for everyone else, we need something else, and he ends up calling it compassion. What he's saying is that there's a trouble with loving everything, everywhere, because every time anyone out there, anywhere, is in some pain, then you feel pain along with them. As he says at the beginning, every time something bad happens, either I feel bad about it, or I feel bad about it that I don't feel bad about it. You know, like if someone starves to death in another country or something, and you don't know them, starved to death, and that's terrible, and you don't generally think about it. Now, Mr. Green puts it into two things here. There's love and compassion, as he puts it, where love is the full force of it, or whatever it is, that you have with family members, or your cat, or the stuff immediately connected to you. Presumably family members more than your cat, but whatever. And then compassion is the desire to help people without the soul-crushing weight thing that he references. And to me, this is a false distinction. I know what he's saying. I know he's saying that if you were to feel guilty about everything you have, failed to do, you'd have, like, infinite guilt, because there's stuff you could always do. If you were to feel bad about every bad thing that ever happened, you would feel tremendously bad, and that wouldn't be of use to anybody, right? But that guilt of non-action, or that empathy of shared suffering, is not, I think, an integral part of love. It is not an absolute necessity of love. That's typically the thing that goes along with it. Typically, you love someone, for instance, and then they die, you feel bad, right? And I think we have it in our minds. There are two options there. You can either feel bad, in which case you must have loved them, or you can not feel bad, in which case you didn't love them, you didn't care, you were apathetic. Those are our two options. But there's a third. There's a third option wherein we celebrate and embrace and rejoice in all the good things of life and the good things of stuff that we love. But we refuse to be overcome with sorrow upon the suffering of such things. This is to say, suffering is bad. We should prevent it. But if you indulge in it, shall I say, or allow it to overwhelm you, is the better phrase for it, then the suffering just multiplies. There's whatever someone else suffered, then you're sad about it, then someone else is sad about it, someone else is sad. The sadness itself is bad. Now, we're tied it all together, you see there. We think of it as caring. If you care for someone and they're hurt, you should feel sad. No, if you care for someone and you're hurt, you should help them. But if you can help them without feeling sad, if you can care and be aware and be proactive, and this is all somewhat related to a video I made called Rumera. I'll put up a link. If you can still care and still be aware and still be proactive, but you are not sad, you refuse at least some measure of sadness, I think that's the best thing. That's the best kind of love. And be clear here. It's not to, use apathy as a way of getting rid of sadness. And holy crap, there's a lot of situations where you're going to be sad because, it's just the magnitude of the situation is kind of hard to overcome. Much as you might say, okay, don't be afraid, ever. That's kind of hard to pull off, much as it may be good advice, as I said in my video, Rumera. So I'm saying here, don't be sad, ever. And don't be ignorant, either. And don't be apathetic. Care. And love. But embrace the good parts of love. So theoretically, even if someone died, that's a bad thing. You should recognize that as bad. But you should be so full of all the good there is, even in the past, as it may be, if someone is dead. But you can be glad that you knew them, and focus on that via that, we can avoid a lot of suffering. It's an interesting thought. And that, by all of this, we can destroy that distinction that Mr. Green was drawing of love and compassion. It's one thing. I could have the same love, at least theoretically, for everyone else in the world, and all the starving people and so forth. And I haven't done the best of jobs in caring for everyone in the world. Everyone's, flawed in that regard. But at least theoretically, yes, I can care for them. And as for this soul-crushing weight of love, that's just baggage, I think. It is possible to love and focus only on the good things. I mean, to be aware of the bad things, sure. To do something about the bad things, sure. But to maintain focus and awareness of all the good there is in the world, to maintain focus on the simple notion that feeling bad is not going to help, particularly. Action will help. Doing something will help. Effecting real change, as Mr. Green mentioned. That will help. That will do it. And by that notion, we can have love for all. Thanks for watching. See you later.